Hello. Welcome to this 1 hour Vinyasa practice. This practice is going to focus on quite dynamic movement in the yoga practice. I heard something recently by a movement coach, I suppose you could call him, and it was complexity is the language of movement. Yeah, so complexity is the language of movement. And it's very true. I do feel sometimes with yoga, we can kind of put ourselves in a box with the way the body moves into certain postures. And that's why Vinyasa can be so much fun, because it really allows you to explore the transition phase between one pose and the next. And we're going to really kind of practice that this evening. With regards to the dynamic flow that's planned, it's quite focused on opening through the anterior of the body, and the anterior of the body is the front body. So there'll be some back bends. We'll look at lengthening through the side body, triceps, strengthening the shoulders, and really freeing up space in front of the hips, so that when we do come into these heart opening or back bend shapes, our body is well and truly prepared for that. And we look at kind of just playing with movement and not taking ourselves too seriously. So it's a 1 hour practice. We're going to begin just coming to seated, a cross-legged seat, whatever version suits you. If it's more comfortable for you to sit with your legs straight out in front, or kneeling is also an option. You can come to a kneeling position. Just make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. You might want to sit yourself on a yoga block or a bolster, or if you don't have either, books work really, really well, or just a cushion, just to give the pelvis a little bit of height. Might be a bit more comfortable on the hips. If you want to close down the eyes, or else just maybe stare at a spot just in front of you. And just start to focus on the breath. We're looking to inhale and exhale through the nose. And it is the season of hay fever. So if that's not possible, you can of course breathe through your mouth. But the reason we breathe through the nose in the yoga practice is many benefits. When you're inhaling through the nose, these little hairs that line the inside of the nose really get to filter the oxygen that's coming into the body. So that's just one of the main benefits. Notice if the breath is getting caught anywhere. Can you maybe draw the breath lower down into the body, maybe towards the belly? Can you relax the shoulders, the face? The jaw, the mouth, the eyes, forehead, and eyebrows. Just soften. We're going to start with a simple pranayama, or maybe it's not so simple. It's called Ujjayi breath, and it's one of the pillars of the Ashtanga Vinyasa practice. And Ujjayi breath is really good for inviting heat into the body. That's one of the main or core aspects of the practice as well. It's called tapas, and it's seen to be a way of self-purification. And I suppose you can apply that to today's world. If you're building heat in the body, you're sweating, and it's one of the most safest and effective ways to detoxify the body. So to bring heat into the body, we're going to practice Ujjayi breathing. So it is through in and out through the nose, but we might begin breathing through the mouth just to get used to what it's like. It's just like if you were going to clean your sunglasses or a spot on the window, and you would go, and you want to mimic that depth and that kind of suppose there's a little bit of restriction in the throat on the inhale also. So if the mouth is open, it will be like, so small bit Darth Vader-ish. To me, that's the easiest way to identify it. It's also called oceanic breath, so that might sound nicer. So just start to practice that with the mouth open, and then see how it feels to close the mouth and continue that deep breath through. It's almost like it's coming into the back of the throat. And it might seem a little bit confusing to start, but you get used to it. For pranayama, you're sitting up nice and tall. And just continue on with this. Don't worry or think about it too much. It starts to become natural throughout the practice anyway, as we begin to focus on our postures, our balance postures. Our breathing just kind of naturally takes itself into an ujjayi style of breath. So we're going to try and keep that going throughout the practice. We're going to start with our asana practice, so our movement practice. So let's begin by interlacing the fingers. Reach the palms up towards the sky and lengthen through the vertebrae, so through the spine, through the side body and waist. Push up through the thumbs and try and draw the pinky fingers down and back behind you. Keep pressing up. Exhale, we'll release. We'll take a gentle twist, so bringing the right hand over onto the left knee. Inhale again, pick yourself up through the spine. Imagine there's like a thread coming up through the crown of the head. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turn and twist to the left. Maybe just bringing your gaze over that left shoulder. Keep breathing in and out through the nose. Inhale, come back to center. This time we're going to take our left hand onto our left thigh. Left hand onto our right thigh, sorry. Inhale, lengthen through the vertebrae. Exhale, turn and twist. You know, if you're sitting on something, you might bring the right hand to the back of that. And let's come back to center. So with these back bends, we do want to start to bring our spine through its ranges of motion. So your twist, your lengthening, we'll do some forward folds, we'll do some lateral flexion, so some side bending, and we'll just really nourish the spine for this practice. So come off whatever you were sitting on. Let's come on to all fours. And we're just going to start to warm up the wrists. So maybe just have the hands somewhere beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. You don't have to be too strict about it. And let's just rock forward and back. Don't move towards any sensations that feel too sharp. Okay. So just be mindful of the feelings in the body throughout the practice. Never move into pain, but maybe just beginning to become familiar with discomfort, because yoga does offer us, you know, discomfort at times in some deep stretches. And yeah, it's a practice of becoming a bit more comfortable with that. So it's quite profound, actually. You can start taking some circles. So just getting a bit more complex and I suppose dynamic with your movements. Remembering to stay focused on the breath also. Move in the opposite direction. This is great for strengthening the wrists. Even if you're not doing a practice daily, you could just give yourself 2 or 3 minutes to just move through these movements. Coming back to neutral, let's see about turning the fingers out to the side. Now let's see about moving from side to side. Lovely stuff. And for some, they might even turn the fingers back towards the knees a little bit more. Just again, be mindful of that. So wherever the hands can go, you might just turn them a little bit towards the knees, or they might turn all the way back, fingers back. And just let's rock forward and back nice and gently. So deep stretch here to the forearms, the inner arms, the wrist. I like to curl under on my toes, so as I sit my sit bones back, it's like the sole of my foot is getting a nice stretch. My toes are getting a nice stretch also. And from here, uncurl the toes, coming back into a child's pose. So sit bones move towards the heels. Don't worry if they don't touch. Reach the hands straight out ahead. Hands are somewhere about shoulder width distance apart. Now, for someone, the shoulders are in flexion like this. You might need to bring the hands out a little bit further, okay? Don't get too caught up in alignment. It's a great guide, but we're all so different, especially our skeletons. So you got to move around and figure out what works best for you. It's not one size fits all with any movement practice, okay? So just reach the hands out ahead. Fingers, index finger may point straight ahead, or the hands might turn out a little bit. We're getting ready for downward facing dog. Curl under on the toes. We're going to start to lift the hips for Adho Mukha Shavasana, downward facing dog. And let's keep the knees bent so there's maybe a little bit more emphasis on the spine as opposed to the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. Head is heavy, so the head hangs. And it's like you're making an upside down V shape. There's a duality happening here. The hips are lifting, but the feet and the hands are really rooting down. So it's like a rooting and a rising. And push into the floor. Push as hard as you can into the floor so that the shoulders travel up by the ears. The shoulders are in elevation here. So the shoulders will be close to the ears. A gentle little spiral of the upper inner arms outwards. So hug the outer arm bones in. And that will just allow the shoulder blades to separate across the back. Head is heavy, breath is steady. You can bend the knees a little bit more and see how it feels to move the front of the body towards the thighs. Just getting into the shoulders a little bit more. And from here, we're going to walk the hands back instead of stepping forward. So slowly walk your hands back. Okay, coming into Uttanasana, so a standing forward fold. Knees can be bent, of course. In fact, I'd always encourage people here to bend their knees deeper. And it's almost like you want the thighs to support the front of the body. You might need to bend the knees a bit deeper. It just allows the spine to release down a little bit more. Head is heavy. Shake the head about if you like. Now from here, draw the navel in for Uddiyana Bandha, or bandhas are energetic yoga locks. And start to roll up as slowly as you can. Vertebrae by vertebrae, just allow the arms and the head to follow. Rolling up. Rolling up through the spine. And here we are, we'll walk to the top of the mat into Tadasana, mountain pose. Toes touch, a little gap between the heels. Let's just take a little flow before we move into our sun salutation A. Inhale to reach the hands up. Exhale, keep the hands reaching up as you hinge at the hip and fold forward. So the arms have a little bit of weight here. Rolling all the way down. Inhale, slide the hands onto the shins, look forward, lengthen through the vertebrae. Exhale, step the Left leg back, drop down onto the left knee. Bring the hand, just bring your hand onto your right thigh to support you. Inhale, reach the hands up. Exhale, bring the hands down to either side of the foot. Inhale here, coming into almost like a runner's lunge. So you're targeting the back of the right leg. I like to point my toes towards my shin or even towards the ceiling. Walk the hands forward, come back into your kneeling lunge. Inhale, we'll reach up again. Exhale, let's turn and twist, reach out through the hands, turning to the right. From here, let's bring the left hand down, reach up again through the right hand. Turn to look up to the top thumb. Lift out of that bottom shoulder, bringing more strength into your practice. Bring both hands back down, step back, downward facing dog, upside down V. Push into the floor. It's like you want to lift the ears towards the tops of the shoulders. You can start to straighten the legs if that feels good for you. Now, from here, look forward. We're going to step our left foot forward. Wherever it lands, you can help it forward with the left hand. Drop down onto the right knee. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to bring the hands down and start to sit back, straightening through the left leg. Now, I'm going to let you decide what feels better for you here. I like to point my toes towards the ceiling. Some people might like to point their toes forward, so it's bringing the ankle and the foot into plantar flexion. I feel I get a better stretch with the foot coming in the other direction. Walk the hands back forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, turn and twist to the left. Reach the hands out like you would in Warrior Two. This time we'll bring the right hand down, lifting up through the left hand, turn to look at the left thumb if it feels okay on the neck. Now, if you notice what's happening here, with my right shoulder, I'm not collapsing into it. I'm pressing and extending up, engaging the strength in the muscles around my shoulder. Now bring the left hand down to the outside of the left foot. Look down to the space where the toes are and see, can you step it forward? Inhale, half lift, lengthen through the vertebrae. Exhale, draw the navel in, fold. You can bend the knees if you like here. Inhale, reaching out through the hands so the spine stays nice and long as you inhale to stand. Exhale, Sansiti. Standing in Tadasana, if you'd like to join me in bringing the palms to prayer, we're going to begin with our sun salutations. It might be a nice opportunity for a Sankalpa. Sankalpa is the Sanskrit word for intention, and sometimes it's nice to begin the practice. Well, you've definitely begun, but begin this part of the practice with an intention. When you're ready, we'll begin. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, keep the arms reaching up and reaching out as you hinge at the hip to fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen through the vertebrae. It's like an upside down L. Exhale, bring the hands down, step it back to plank. Now you can modify here, you can stay in full plank or you can drop the knees. If you're going to drop the knees, just walk them back so they're not directly underneath the hips. Spin the inner elbows forward. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down. Elbows move back and in. They stay in close to the ribs. Inhale, draw the tailbone down, posterior tilt, peel the chest away. Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose. Exhale, curl toes under, maybe lift to knees, lifting them into downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. And if you're feeling tired, you don't have to take downward facing dog here. You can always come back, rest in child's pose. It's your practice, and I really want you to feel into your body and what feels good to you. Ujjayi pranayama. On the fifth exhale, look between the hands, step it forward or walk forward or maybe hop. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the hands out. Keep that spine long. Reaching up on the inhale. Exhale, samsiti. So we move into round two. Using the breath as the real catalyst, almost like it really is like the diesel or the petrol for our body and these movements. So just maybe use this round to really focus on inhale and exhale, and not to be so concerned about how the shapes you're making, how they look, more concerned about the breath. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen through the spine. Hands come onto the shins. Exhale, stepping back to a plank position. You can stay in full plank or you can drop to your knees. Inhale here. Exhale to lower yourself down. Keep those elbows in. Draw the tailbone down. Inhale, peel the upper spine up. Exhaling, downward facing dog. 5 breaths. Keep pushing the floor away. Keep hugging those outer arm bones in. It's like you want to almost turn the armpits to face each other. I know it's a strange cue, but we're just slightly affect the position of the shoulder blades. Your gaze will be beyond your feet. Your gaze is known as your drishti. On the next exhale, look forward, step forward. Feet come together. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, draw the lower navel in. Inhale, reach the hands out and up. Exhale, hands come down. Once more, inhale to reach up. Exhale, keep the arms reaching forward as you fold. Inhale, half lift. Let's stay here for a second. Look at this half lift, Ardha Uttanasana as a pose by itself. Broaden across the collarbones, draw the shoulder blades together. Lift the fronts of the shoulders up, gaze slightly forward. Legs are straight, so thigh muscles are engaged. One more inhale. On your exhale, bend the knees, place the hands down, step back. You can drop to the knees or you can work from a full plank. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down. Keep the elbows in tight. Lower all the way onto the belly. Now let's have a look at up dog or bhujangasana here. Draw the tailbone down. So if you were to look at my tailbone, tucking it under. Roll the shoulders up and back. Inhale, lift the chest. Let's lower down again. For those of you who have a little bit more mobility in the spine and can lift into up dog, we can either do bhujangasana again, or you're going to move the hands back, come somewhere in line with the lower ribs. Hug those elbows in, draw the tailbone down and under. You're going to be pressing into the tops of the feet, so make sure tops of the feet are flat on the mat. Inhale here, exhale, push into the hands, push into the tops of the feet, lifting the thighs off of the floor. Exhaling back, downward facing dog, 5 breaths. Fifth exhale, look forward. You can either hop by a little bend in the knee, you can step, or you can walk. Inhale, half lift. Remember that broadness across the collarbones. And exhale, fold. Inhale, start to reach the hands out in front of you as you reach the hands up. Exhale, Samasiddhi. Let's step the feet about hip-width distance apart. Bring the hands onto the hips. Bring the elbows back. Again, it's all about this broadness across the collarbones. Because when we come into forward folds, what can happen is we can really close ourselves off. And we can start to kind of round through the spine and close ourselves off here. There's nothing wrong with that. But it may feel nicer to really broaden across collarbones. And when you feel the spine start to round, okay, it feels tight, bend the knees more, and it will allow the spine to release down. Okay, just something to keep in mind. Feet are hip width distance apart. Squeeze the thigh muscles. Squeezing the thigh muscles helps protect the hamstrings and the backs of the legs. Inhale, exhale, fold. Leave with the chest. Bend the knees as deeply as you like. You're looking for peace fingers to wrap around the inside of the big toe, thumbs to come onto top of big toe. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Head is heavy. I will say this about 100 times in class, but sometimes we can get into the habit of looking at the floor and therefore we're lifting the head. Just let the head hang as if it's full of water or, I don't know, sand and something's weighing it down, so that your gaze will be in between the legs, back behind you. While you're here, can you focus on bringing the breath into the back of the body, the back of the lungs, back of the rib cage, upper back, middle back, lower back, all this space. Keep squeezing them thigh muscles, and there's a little bit of internal rotation with the thigh bones here. So those inner thighs feel like they're rotating back behind. Now let's bring the hands onto the hips, and on an inhale, come down like you, or come up like you came down. Scoop the chest forward. It's very Beyonce-ish. Lift, 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 lift. Exhale, standing at the top of the mat. So we're going to move through another flow. This sequence of movement is going to focus on lengthening through the side body, lengthening through the triceps, strengthening through the shoulders, and really focusing on targeting the fronts of the hips here. All these sticky spots that can really inhibit our ability to backbend. So much of backbending, I feel like zones in on the mobility through the spine. And while that's most definitely true, I have met some really bendy people who have been so flexible through their spine, but find certain backbends hard because they're tight in the muscle groups, maybe the lats here, maybe the shoulders, you know, they can be quite tight in the shoulders, and a really sticky, tight area, the fronts of the hips. So while you might have the bendiest spine, if you've got tightness in these muscle groups, it's definitely going to affect the body's ability to kind of backbend. Not that backbending is the most important thing in the world. It's not at all. So much emphasis is put on these shapes when really there's so much more to yoga. But you know, the shapes can be fun. So let's begin with a nice flow here. I want you to, let's begin by reaching the arms up. Okay, shoulders come into flexion. Bring the palms to prayer, and now bring the thumbs towards the back of the neck, or maybe towards the upper back. So imagine you are in a room and the roof is really, really low, and you want to hit the roof with your elbows. Okay, so it's like you're lifting your elbows here. Let's shift the weight into the right foot, And let's bend the left knee and encourage the heel towards the left bum cheek. Now, my shape here, what I tend to like to do is flare through my lower ribs, come into an anterior tilt where my pelvis kind of sticks back, or my bum sticks back. I want to draw my tailbone down, coming into a posterior tilt, and I want to draw my lower ribs in. So I'm really stretching through the tricep and shoulder and armpit side body here. I'm not bringing the lower part of my trunk or my legs or pelvis into it. Inhale, find a dristi, so find a focal point to concentrate your gaze upon. Now let's bring the left knee up in front. Take an inhale. Exhale, let's turn and twist to the left. Reach out through the fingertips like we did at the start of class. So it's like a T shape with the arms. We're going to keep the arms like this as we slowly, with control, step that left foot back into warrior two. Front knee is in line with front ankle. The knee is moving towards the baby toe. So it's not buckling inward, which can be quite common. You're really encouraging it to move outward, stretching through the inner thigh. Your gaze is out beyond that right middle finger. Relax the shoulders here. Bend into the front knee a bit more. Front heel somewhere in line with back heel. Okay, in and around, just for a guide. Keep bending, engage those pelvic floor muscles. Mula Bandha. Draw the lower navel in, Uddiyana Bandha. The bandhas help the energy circulate and keep us strong in these postures. Flip the front palm, reach forward, inhale, exhale, reaching up. Left hand rests on the back of the left leg. Reverse warrior. Coming back to warrior two. From here, we're going to come to a high lunge. So I'm going to turn onto these back toes, and I'm going to reach up. So kind of similar to a Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1, but we're in a high lunge. And I feel that just targets these back or the hip flexors of the left leg a little bit more. Reach up, grab a hold of your left wrist. Okay, so our grip is something like this. Keep breathing and take a slight side bend to the right. Try not twist, okay? Chest faces forward. Now from here, coming back to a straight spine, slowly, let's come onto the back knee. And please pop a cushion onto your back knee if you feel like you need to give the knee a little bit of support. Let's draw the tailbone down and under. So a posterior tilt, bend in to this front right knee a little bit more. So working on the hip flexor, front of the hip of the left leg here. Stretching through the hip flexor. Now let's bring both hands down to the inside of the right foot. Heel toe, the right foot out a little bit more. I like to turn my right toes out to the right. So if you see what's happening with my foot here. And what that does is it just frees up space in the front of the right hip. So that I can kind of sink into it a little bit more. You can have the floor lifted to you, so you can have your hands on books. Okay, you don't have to have the hands to the floor. You can build the floor up to you. Now, this might not suit everyone. It might just be for some people, but I want you to bend the left knee. Bring the heel towards the left bum cheek. And this might be enough for a lot of people, especially a lot of us are very quad dominant. So we use our quad muscles, which are our thigh muscles a lot. And because we use them a lot, they tend to be quite tight. So this might be enough. For others, they might reach back, opening through the chest with their right arm, right hand, and they might be able to grab a hold of the left foot with their right hand. You might encourage the foot or the heel towards the bum a little bit more, giving yourself a nice stretch through the hip, through the thigh muscle. Keep lifting through the chest. Keep breathing. Just here spicy, this one. Exhale, release. Bring both hands down and slowly step it back. Downward facing dog. Look to the hands. Hop, step or walk forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach through the hands, reaching up. Exhale, hands come down. So we're going to do that on the other side. Okay, so this time we're going to shift our weight towards our left foot. Let's reach up first with the hands. Bring the palms to prayer. Thumbs towards back of the neck, top of the shoulders. Keep lifting through the elbows. Shift the weight into the left foot. This time right heel towards right bum cheek. Watch for the flare in the ribs and the tilt of the pelvis forward, so bum moves back. We don't want that to happen. So draw the tailbone down, draw the lower ribs in. Inhale, knee comes out in front. Exhale, turn and twist to the right this time. Reach out through the hands, T-shape. Find your drishti, so find that focal point, that area that you can give your concentration to. Don't forget to breathe. Keeping the hands as they are, slowly, 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 step it back. Heels are somewhere in line, maybe have more distance between the feet, bending into the front knee, knee lines up over ankle. Turn the palms to face down, bring the gaze out over the middle finger of the left hand. Relax the shoulders. Encourage that left knee to move towards the baby toe. From here, coming to a high lunge, square off the hips as best you can. Chest moves towards front of the mat. Lift that back knee. It's going to want to bend and become a little bit limp, especially as we're building heat in the body. We're using a lot of energy. Keep strong, lift the back knee. This time, grab a hold of your right wrist. Take a little side bend over to the left. Careful not to come into a twist. We're not coming into rotation through the spine. We're coming into lateral flexion, so side bend, not a twist. Now slowly lift back up. Start to drop onto the right knee this time. Pad the knee if you like. Checking in with the pelvis, so bringing the hands onto the hips. Okay, I wore the worst top ever. You might have a neutral pelvis, so you want to draw the tailbone down. Down and under slightly. And this might be a very micro movement, but you really might feel the impact it has in front of the right hip this time. Maybe you can bend into the right knee a little bit more. I know that the word sink is a dirty word sometimes in the yoga practice, but once you kind of soften the muscles a little, you can kind of just sink a little bit if it feels good for you, okay? Might feel lovely for some people. Some people might much prefer being up here. It's your practice, so it's going to be different for everyone. Now let's bring the hands to the inside of the left foot. Heel toe the left foot out to the side. Point the toes out sideways to the left if that suits you. Keep lifting the chest forward. Keep broadening across the collarbones. Now you might start to bend the right knee this time. This might be enough. Or for some, with the left hand, they might reach up and back. So it's almost like you're coming into a twist, and that foot might be there for you. Be gentle. Exhale, release the foot, bring the hands down. And we're actually going to step back into a plank position. You can drop the knees and modify if you like. Inhale here, exhale, lowering down. Come all the way down onto the belly. From here, we're going to do some thoracic extension. So lifting through the upper spine is what we're going to do here. And we're going to do that with savasana, so locust pose. So come to lie down, bring the palms back, or bring the hands back, palms face up. Just relax the body here. Take a couple of breaths. For savasana, we're going to do it 3 times. The first time we're only going to focus from the rib cage up, okay? So roll the shoulders up and back. Feel the shoulder blades move towards each other. Inhale here, exhale, lift the head. You might point the toes and push out through the feet, but we're keeping the hands and the feet on the mat. We're just lifting through the upper spine. Exhale, come back down. Maybe turn the head to the side. Take rest here. So for the next round, I want you to imagine that you're a banana shape. This is going to really strengthen the back body, and it is a back bend, and you're lengthening through the front body. I want you to focus a little bit more maybe on the inner thighs. You can bring a book or a block or anything really that might be within arm's reach to in between the inner thighs if you like, and that will just help remind you to engage these muscles, these inner adductor muscles. Hands face up. Let's start. Inhaling, roll the shoulders up and back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the head, lift the chest, lift the legs, lift the arms. Squeeze the inner thighs, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Turn the palms to face down. Make a pillow with the hands, come to rest. We'll go once more. Okay, remembering your banana shape, remembering lengthening through the front body, strengthening through the back body. Squeeze the inner thighs. Bring the forehead down. Roll the shoulders up towards the ceiling. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, lift head, lift chest, lift arms, lift legs. Turn the palms to face down. You get this external rotation through the shoulder. And now, let's bring the hands to underneath the shoulders, front of the shoulders. Keep lifting. Softly allow the hands to land, legs to land. Inhale, you might push into the hands and your spine might allow a little bit more of a lift here. Cobra pose. Exhale, roll down. So we'll do another back bend here and another lovely one to open up through the front of the hips. Okay, so we'll start by bringing our hands out to a T shape, both arms, palms face down. The best way for me to do it for you to see would be me. I'm going to, let me think, slide. I'm actually going to slide my other hand in, but I'll do it with this hand so you can see better. So I'm sliding the hand in, pointing the elbow to face up, okay? My wrist is fairly much somewhere under the elbow here, but I'm going to do that with my other hand. So just so you know what's happening on the other side. And with the same leg, I'm going to bend the knee. It's like I'm picking my foot up and I'm going to step it back towards the other hand. So it's like a scorpion kick back. And it's just giving me a nice stretch into the front of the right shoulder and through the front of the left hip, actually. Be really mindful here with your shoulder. It is quite a deep stretch, so, you know, tread carefully. Exhale, release. We'll do the other side. So this time I'm going to slide my right hand in, right elbow points to face or points upwards, bending the right knee. And it's like someone's coming and lifting my foot on my knee. With that lift, I'm going to turn, twist, step it back. Exhale. Come back, roll back onto the belly. Okay, so from here, come up onto the knees. We're moving towards our peak pose, which is just a real mismatch of 2 or 3 different poses in together. It's quite playful, but yeah, maybe I'll just stop talking and I'll show you. We're going to come to a side plank first, and just to kind of bring some more strength into the shoulders. So coming up onto full plank, okay? Draw the tailbone down and under, and imagine that you're trying to reach your back body towards the ceiling, okay? You're not coming into a down dog where the hips lift up. You're staying in a plank position, but it's this lightness through the body as if it's being pulled upwards. Now, let's step the left hand towards the center of the mat. And it's just up ahead a little bit. It's not directly beneath the left shoulder. And we're going to turn onto the side of the left foot. Again, this constant pulling upwards. Now you can have the right foot stepping out in front. Okay, I'm supported by my left hand and my left foot. And the right foot can offer you a little bit more support here as well. To bring a little bit more strength into it, you'll stack the feet. Be very careful that you're not collapsing into the supporting shoulder. You're lifting, you're active. Extend out through the crown of the head. Keep lifting towards the ceiling. Exhale, just come to sit down. Okay, you might be facing the back of the mat. We're going to come to a tabletop position because this might be helpful for some people when we come into our peak pose in a minute or two. Bend the knees. Fingers might like to point out to the sides with my shoulders. Some people might point them forward, some back. I just like pointing to the sides. I'm going to really roll my shoulders back. And when you feel this action, really feel the scapula, your 2 shoulder blades press or squeeze together. Lift the chest. Inhale here, exhale, lift the hips. I like to keep my head lifted. Some people will like to drop their head back. It's just going to be preference. Definitely feels nice around my neck to keep my head lifted. Keep lifting the front of the body this time. Exhale, bring the bum back down. We're going to turn back over, and this time we're going to take side plank, but with the right hand. Okay, so you might come to full plank. You might walk your right hand to the center of the mat and up towards the top of the mat a little bit more. I like to keep a soft micro bend in my elbow here. And I'm going to turn to bring my support onto the outer edge of my right foot. You can step the left foot forward. As you reach up through the left hand, if you notice my shoulder here, I'm not sinking and collapsing. I'm constantly bringing strength into my yoga practice and lifting out that shoulder. And if you're feeling strong, you might stack the feet. Exhale, coming back to a downward facing dog. And if you want to take a second and come to Virasana, so kneeling pose, and maybe if you just want to watch or look up for a second while I demonstrate the postures that I've planned, it's quite dynamic, so it might be good to watch first and then have a go. This is what I like to kind of call the play part of the yoga practice, where you're just experimenting with different ways to transition from postures. You're playing around with postures. Don't take it too seriously, and just have fun with it. But this is kind of the rough idea. I'll show you two different things. So first, we might be in a downward facing dog, okay? And maybe walk the left hand, left foot more towards the middle of the mat. Stepping right foot and right hand off the mat a little bit. We're going to come to a side plank like we did, and then we might come up and over into this tabletop position. So we're rolling over. Then we'll come back through to down dog, but we're going to keep the right leg lifted and we're going to thread it through, turning, coming to a seated position towards facing the back of the mat. So that's one option, from side plank to tabletop, back towards down dog, but threading the top leg under and through. The next option is down dog, into side plank, into Kamikatasana, wild thing. And I'll show you how that's done. So I'm coming to my down dog, and I'm actually going to lift my right leg up. I'm going to turn as if I'm coming into a side plank, but I'm going to step that foot over. And this is a point where you can come to tabletop, or you can reach up and over for wild thing, Kamikatasana. Just be strong and keep lifting through the thoracic spine, the heart area. From here, I'm going to come back to down dog, but I'm going to keep this right leg lifting. Lifting. And I'm going to thread it through. Lift the left hand, come to a sitting position, the back of the mat. So if you want to try it once more, we can do it together. Choose your tabletop or wild thing, or you can, whatever you want to do. Don't think about it too much, just have fun with it. Starting in down dog. Inhale to maybe lift the right leg. Exhale, bring the weight onto the left hand, step that right foot back behind you, reach up and over with the right hand. Coming back to down dog, but keep the right leg lifted. Lift it, thread it through, start to take the weight out of the left hand, turn and twist, keep the hips high, and then sit the hips down. Facing the back of the mat, bring the legs out wide. Upavista Konasana. And it might benefit you here to sit up on a cushion, to sit up on a block, a book. Sometimes it helps to have the pelvis higher here. Lengthen through the soles of the feet, firm the thigh muscles. Inhale. Exhale, walk the hands forward. And you might walk forward a lot, you might walk forward a little. Just trying to keep the spine nice and long. And this sense of broadness and openness across the heart center, the collarbones, the chest. Gently press the heels into the mat or the floor to engage the hamstrings. And come back up. And this time we're going to take our dynamic movement facing the back of the mat. So come to down dog. We'll end up turning in the same direction just because we're facing the other way around. So I believe this time we're lifting our left leg. So come to down dog. You might need to walk off the mat a little bit and bring your right hand and right foot to the middle of the mat. Left hand and left hand might come off the mat. Inhale here. Exhale, start to lift the left leg up this time. Inhale, exhale to either a tabletop position by stepping that left foot back, or maybe Kamakattasana, reaching up and back. Exhale, start to bring the left hand back down. Keep the legs, the left leg lifted, keep the hips lifted as you thread the left leg through. Turning, twisting, coming to a seat, facing the top of the mat. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Who cares? Who cares where we're all facing? Okay, so come to another forward fold. This time we're actually going to bring the soles of the feet together for Baddha Konasana. The soles of the feet can be in quite close to the groin, or it might be a nice option to slide the feet away from you. So you're making a nice big diamond shape. I think that's the better choice. We're coming to the very end of our practice, so it might be nice to take a more kind of restful and restorative version of Baddha Konasana butterfly pose. Inhale here, exhale, fold forward. Relax the shoulders. Relax the face, the jaw, the mouth, the eyes, the eyebrows. Soften into your Baddha Konasana. Feel the breath move towards the back body. Feel that expansion through the back of the lungs, the back of the ribcage. And feel the breath slow down. Everything softens, body, breath. Slowly roll up. We're going to come into another more gentle, softer version of a posture. So Paschimottanasana, usually maybe the legs are straight out ahead. We're going to keep it bending the knees here. We're really wanting to allow this energy to settle. We've come to the end of our practice. Back bends are really stimulating energetically. So we want to kind of wind down a little bit here. Bend the knees and just fold into yourself. You might hug underneath the knees. You might hold onto the calves. You might bend the knees even more. Just fold into yourself. Slowly sitting up, getting ready for Shavasana. So if you want to put your socks on, the body temperature drops quite fast. It's always so surprising. You get so fired up usually in an Ashtanga Vinyasa practice. But the minute the body starts to relax, it can get quite cold. So grab cushion, blankets, turn the lights off, grab something to put over your eyes. I want you to feel as comfortable and restful as you can. Okay, so when you're ready, come to lie on your back. If you have a bolster, it might feel nice to pop under the knees. Done a lot of back bending this evening. If you wanted to straighten the legs, I'd recommend take a nice bit of space between the two legs. You're in the comfort of your own home. You have this space to take up, so it might be nice to make use of that. Palms may face up for some people. Others might like to put their palms on their belly. Some people might like cactus arms. Again, I'm not going to tell you how to take your shavasana. You find the shavasana where your body feels most at ease. The work is done in the practice, so you find what suits you. And close the eyes. Soften the body. Soften and slow down your breathing. Allow the breath to move right down into the belly. And when the breath moves down through the body, feel the whole body expand as you inhale, and everything relax and become heavier as you exhale. You stay here in Shavasana. I will look after the time. There's nothing more, nothing at all required of you. You just allow the body to rest, to soften. And have no worries if you're finding it hard to relax. Relaxing is often one of the hardest things for us. If the body doesn't feel like relaxing, if the mind has some thoughts racing, or the mind feels quite slippery, if there's anything on the mind, just allow space on your yoga mat for all of this. Because this is life. It's not always going to be relaxing. Please know that you can stay as long as you like in Shavasana. This is your practice. And I would always encourage people to spend as much time as they can in Shavasana, as it truly is one of the most important yoga postures. Stillness isn't easy, but it's most definitely transformative. So I'm going to close the practice, but please know that you can stay where you are, how you are, as you are. If you're ready to close your own practice, you might start to bring gentle movements into the body by wiggling the fingers and the toes. You may feel like circling the wrists and the ankles, stretching out through the fingertips, closing the fingers into a fist, stretching again, closing again. On a deep inhale, you might feel called to reaching your arms up overhead, taking a nice big stretch, pointing out through the toes. On your exhale, roll onto your left-hand side, curl the knees in, stay for a few moments here. Notice how you feel. Physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. These are known as the koshas in the yoga practice. They're like the layers that exist in all of us. Our physical layer, our mental body, energetic body, pranayama kosha, anamaya kosha, and our emotional body. The yoga practice tends to all these different aspects of ourselves. When you're ready, pushing the right hand into the mat, keeping the eyes closed, coming up to a cross-legged seat. Relax the shoulders, sitting up nice and tall. If you want to bring the palms to prayer, Anjali Mudra, thumbs to chest center, or maybe you might just feel like putting your hands over your heart. Maybe reflecting on the Sankalpa, the intention set at the beginning of practice. And before we part ways, I'd just like to read a little something from Pema Chodron. I believe Pema is a Buddhist monk, or sorry, a Buddhist nun. My apologies. This is in her own little book, and it's called, Am I Going to Add to the Aggression? Every day, we could think about the aggression in the world. In New York, Los Angeles, Darfur, Iraq, everywhere, all over the world, everybody always strikes out at the enemy. And the pain escalates forever. Every day we could reflect on this and ask ourselves, am I going to add to the aggression in the world? Every day at the moment when things get edgy, we can just ask ourselves, am I going to practice peace or am I going to war? Thank you for taking the practice. Namaste.